I bet this is Pompillio's.
You're going to want to hide your petunias for this video. It's time for the Pompillio's trilogy with Jim Rauch. And before I get ready to get on the road with this recipe, I have a little bit of backstory I'd like to share with you. Once upon a time, there was a show called Dateline NBC's To Catch a Predator. They would team up with an organization known as Perverted Justice and along with the local police, conduct sting operations all over the United States. However, there was one sting that was mentioned on the Bowling Green episode. It took place in April of 2007 and happened in Highland Heights, Kentucky by the KBI without the presence of Dateline. Out of the 11 men busted in that sting, one stood out from all the rest.
Jim Rauch, R-A-U-C-H. Okay.
That would be 59-year-old James Rauch, a retired music teacher from the local school 4 blocks away. He was also a criminal justice professor at the University of Cincinnati. How did Jim Rauch gain so much notoriety without even having a seat with Chris Hansen?
It's a question.
I think it's safe to say it's the 2-hour interrogation video where he goes off topic and incriminates himself in a cavalier fashion.
How do you get a damn name like Pompillio's?
Pompillio's is an Italian restaurant in Newport, Kentucky. It has a rich history that I don't have the time to fully unbox in this video. For example, the original voice of Tony the Tiger, Thurl Ravenscroft, did a musical advertisement for the restaurant back in the 1950s. The legendary toothpick scene from the movie Rain Man starring Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise was also filmed at Pompillio's. And finally, in 2007, Jim Rauch mentions Pompillio's to a perverted justice decoy he thinks is a 13-year-old girl.
Actually, my daughter, oh God, this is freaky. My daughter was did movies at Pompillio's.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been to Pompillio's?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Hey, yeah. You ever said pick up Pompillio's?
You're breaking up, right?
And,
it was also brought to my attention that Pompillio sells their So Italian sauces online.
It's so Italian, so Italian!
And even has a few of their recipes on their site as well. To my dismay, they were out of the butternut squash and the marinara robusto. I was, however, able to get my hands on the bolognese, marinara classico, and the puttanesca. And unlike Jim Rauch, the sauces reached their destination within 4 days. And since cooking is a part of what I do, we will be recreating the Rigatoni bolognese. Are you interested?
I don't do that.
You don't do that?
I don't want to do that.
Now that we're in the kitchen, let's go over the ingredients. We got our rigatoni, butter, our Pompillio spice blend, the bolognese sauce. We even got the beef, and we got the salt and pepper I left in the cabinet. Pompillio's uses regular ground beef when they make this dish. I got my hands on some prime cut New York strip for $13.
I'd be happy, like give me an 18, 19-year-old and I'll be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Bottom line is, we need to cut the steak into smaller strips and get it ready for the meat grinder. If you don't have a meat grinder, you can have your local butcher do this step for you. Lucky for me, I got a damn good grinder.
You're supposed to laugh, damn it.
Next, it's time to season our ground strip with salt, pepper, and our Pompillio spice blend, none of which I measured.
Which don't help me, son of a bitch.
Mix the meat together with your hands, but don't mix it too much.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
Just enough to combine the spices. Set your burner to medium-high Melt 28 grams of butter over the skillet and add the ground beef.
What happens when I get there? You gonna fuck me?
To brown the beef, I'm going to turn left, then I'm going to turn left, then I'm going to turn right, then I'm going to turn left. Does that make sense?
I gotta piss though. God, I gotta piss bad.
Now it's time to drain the beef and set it aside for a few minutes while I take a piss.
I don't care. I'm gonna piss on your petunias.
Bring half a gallon of water to a boil. The ratio for cooking pasta is 1 gallon of water per 1 pound of pasta. Pompillio's uses half a gallon of water per pound, which is a relief because this is the biggest pan I currently own.
Are you sure this is okay?
Add 1 pound of rigatoni to the boiling water. We're going to cook the pasta in the water for about 6 minutes because we want it a little harder.
Harder? Yeah, you want it hard?
While we wait for the rigatoni to cook, it's time to add the brown beef to the skillet along with our Pompillio's bolognese sauce. I'm going to let it heat up over medium.
Phil, I have to get over here. Oh!
Once again, I'm going to turn left. Then I'm going to turn left. Then I'm going to turn right. And finally, I'm going to mix this all together in a cavalier fashion.
I don't care. I'm gonna piss on your petunias.
Now that 6 minutes have gone by, it's time to drain the pasta. But before we do that, reserve 1 cup of the pasta water and add it to the beef in the bolognese sauce.
Don't judge me on that.
It was at this moment when I added the rigatoni to the beef in the bolognese. I realized I needed to use a bigger pot for the rest of this recipe instead of the skillet.
I can hear the anxiety in your voice.
Shut up, Krumer.
I'm sorry, where, what?
After letting the pasta and the sauce cook together for about 5 minutes, ensuring the pasta is al dente.
I'm just trying to reassure you.
Now it's time for the best part. Now this is what a rigatoni bolognese looks like, served on a champagne-colored plate with a vodka tonic on the side. The bears will definitely be after your dick with this one. Tonight, I'm coming from the bridge to bring you part 2 of the Pompillio's trilogy with Jim Rauch. In the last episode, we did a quick introduction to Jim, shared a couple fun facts about Pompillio's, and then I showed you how to make a rigatoni bolognese with Pompillio's bolognese sauce. And afterwards, Jim got arrested. Since I have a need to help people, I'm going to show you how to recreate Pompillio's chicken cacciatore, which consists of garlic sauteed mushrooms, green peppers, and onions over a bed of linguine robusto, which will make you the most popular guy at the Swingers Club, also known as my kitchen.
I went to a swingers club last night and walked out.
No, Jim, I had you arrested for pissing on my petunias.
Okay.
And now that we're at the Swingers Club, we're going to begin with 2 relaxing chicken breasts. Begin by cutting the chicken into medium-sized strips.
Shit.
Grab a bowl and add 1 cup of generic white flour.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a common thing now.
Add salt, pepper, and some of the Pompillio's So Italian spice blend.
So Italian. So Italian.
Any So Italian seasoning will work.
Yes.
Mix the generic white flour in a cavalier fashion and use it to dredge the chicken.
Use it? I don't know what that means.
Set the chicken aside because it's time to prepare the vegetables. Next, fulfill a need for vegetables by chopping 1 medium generic white onion.
What? No way.
Along with 2 green bell peppers.
I'm sorry, where what?
And combine them with 1 pound of mushrooms.
Do you do this every night?
Bring half a gallon of salted water to a roaring boil. Add the linguine to the boiling water and let it cook for 10 minutes.
Yeah, you want a harder?
It's called al dente, you groomer.
Oh, yeah. And that's right.
Anyway, while the pasta is boiling, this is where adding the 40 grams of butter to a skillet set to medium heat comes into play. After the butter is melted, fulfill a need for the breaded chicken from earlier.
I'm going to piss on your Pompillio.
Flip the chicken 3 minutes after adding it to the skillet. Even though I had my heat on medium high, I still feel sabotaged that my chicken is slightly burnt.
Damn it, Pompillios.
Now that the chicken has cooked for 6 minutes, add the vegetables we prepared earlier along with some garlic paste and some Worcestershire sauce. It's the right thing to do, and it should be applauded.
You're playing a role.
I'm going to turn left, then I'm going to turn left, then I'm going to turn right, then I'm going to turn left. Does that make sense?
There he is, beating that dead horse! Get him!
You'll notice that I have Marinara Classico instead of Marinara Robusto. I had to make a critical judgment instead of an emotional judgment. After doing my research, I realized there was one noticeable difference between the 2 sauces. The Robusto has anchovies. So does Worcestershire sauce.
No. But the thing is,
It's been about 10 minutes. The pasta and the sautéed veggies are done.
And the bears are looking for my dick.
Now it's time to add the sauce and drain the pasta. Feel free to reserve 1 cup of the pasta water and add it to your dish if you like.
no. God, no.
All that's left to do is grab a champagne-colored plate, add a bed of linguine, fill up my tires with air, add the chicken cacciatore, and grab a vodka tonic. I can't help but think I'm forgetting something.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
Oh, that's right. Have the bears send Jim Rauch to an island. Incarceration Island, as I would say. This is what a chicken cacciatore looks like. Possibly breakfast, too. Here's a close-up so you can get a better look at it. In the beginning of the Pompillio's trilogy, we learned about the Pontiac Aztec warrior and how he ended up on To Catch a Predator. Why he got out of having a seat with Chris Hansen. We also shared some fun facts about Pompillio's, ordered some of their sauces, and then we went out to the Swingers Club and made the Rigatoni bolognese with the bolognese sauce. But we didn't stop there. I realized I could have had 2 pastas. And that's when I went back to the Swingers Club and recreated their chicken cacciatore using the Pompillio's Marinara Classico. Just as I was getting ready for dinner, the bears finally caught up with Jim Rauch and sent him to Incarceration Island.
I know, but on the outside of it, people look at it. They don't see it.
But you have feelings. I mean, you'd be inhuman if you didn't have feelings.
Tonight's recipe is about feelings and trying to help someone make Pompillio seafood ravioli with their So Italian puttanesca sauce.
I really wanted to help.
Here's the lesson that you need to learn. Us guys like to use semolina flour when we make our pasta dough.
I don't think so.
Begin with 600 grams of semolina flour and 6 whole eggs. Give me a KitchenAid. and I'll find ways to make the pasta dough.
Okay. We'll go from there. Okay.
Bottom line is, I'm gonna find where the
Pompillio?
I put my paddle. I'm gonna add the ingredients to my KitchenAid, and I'm gonna mix the flour and the eggs together for a couple minutes on speed 1. If it's a little crumbly, go ahead and add a little bit of vodka tonic. Next, search the
Pompillio?
car and find the dough hook.
What do you need? Where do we go from there? What?
Knead the dough for a couple minutes on speed 1. Once again, if the dough is still a bit crumbly, add another splash of vodka tonic. And knead the dough for another minute on speed 1. Possibly speed 2.
Does that make sense?
Knead the dough by hand on the counter. Push down a little bit. And move up and down, pushing in the dough a little bit.
Does that what kind of when the condoms come into play?
Were the what?
Condoms? I prefer to use cling wrap.
Am I confusing you?
Wrap your dough airtight and let it sit on the counter for 20 minutes.
I don't care. I'm gonna piss on your petunias.
This is what a pasta dough looks like.
Okay.
Knead the dough again to get the gluten to loosen up. I could tell it was very guarded. I just wanted to, really get that corner into the pasta dough, which will now stay in the refrigerator overnight.
Okay.
Am I spending the night in the gym?
Afraid so, groomer. Have a good night. Hope the bears don't bite.
I don't care. I'm gonna piss on your petunias.
Begin the morning by taking the pasta dough out of the refrigerator. Fill your tires with air and go on a scavenger hunt to get some seafood. The Pompillio's recipe actually calls for 2 types of seafood, scallops and cod. Antonio's wine and liquor was all out of cod. I went with scallops and haddock instead. And now, we can get ready to get on the road with this recipe and cook our seafood.
Do what you have to do.
Fulfill a need for haddock by preheating the oven to 350 degrees.
Maybe you can help me.
But the thing is,
Yes.
we need to spray a baking sheet with cooking spray.
Okay.
Cut the haddock into 6 fillets.
What's that road?
Add the juice from 1 lemon.
I gotta piss though.
Season with salt and pepper.
God, I gotta piss bad.
Add a tablespoon of olive oil.
Does that make sense?
A shake of cayenne for Chef John.
I gotta piss though. God, I gotta
And mix
piss
the
bad.
fish together big as day.
You're supposed to laugh, damn
I'm
it.
gonna fill up my baking sheet with haddock and let it bake in the oven for 13 minutes.
13?
With this next ingredient, I'm just trying to be careful. I know how poorly cooked scallops taste and how they screw around with you. If we mess these up, we'll be down a dead-end street.
And I don't do this. Number one, I don't really want to.
It's really important to entice the scallops to the point of cooking just right. To do that, preheat a skillet to just a mustache above medium and fulfill a need for olive oil.
Okay.
Add some salt and pepper. Mix the scallops together through Yahoo and add them to the preheated skillet.
Okay.
After letting them sear for 3 minutes, flip them over and repeat. But keep an eye on these, because if these burn,
We're just crying like shit.
this is what a seafood looks like.
I don't think so.
Maybe your mother wants to see it too.
I don't care. I don't want to be involved in a whole bunch of legal shit.
I'm just really looking for a way to make some ravioli filling.
Does that make sense?
And to do that, we begin with 4 cups of ricotta cheese, enough granulated garlic to get loose, some of our Pompillio So Italian spice blend,
So Italian. So Italian.
2 cups of freshly grated Parmesan cheese, and 2 eggs. Cooking isn't so bad. It's a lot of mixing.
I gotta piss though. God, I gotta piss bad.
Add the haddock from earlier, along with the scallops. Stick your hands in the ravioli filling and mix like before. Now that we got our ravioli filling ready, it's time to shape our pasta ball into raviolis. Well, it's a little more intuitive than you think.
Oh God, another case. Another case.
I had no idea how time-consuming and how much work goes into rolling your own pasta dough by hand until making this video.
Does that make sense?
At one point, I thought the chances of Jim making it to the Sting House was greater than me getting this done.
I don't think so.
I was flustered big as day.
Relax.
Okay. Get ready to get on the road by dividing the pasta dough into smaller sections. Pick a section and roll the dough as thin as possible. Trying to piss and roll a pasta at the same time? It doesn't work.
I'm sorry, where what?
Fold the dough in half and roll the dough as thin as possible once again. Do this step 13 times.
13?
You're supposed to laugh, damn it. It's a joke.
Okay.
3 times will be sufficient. If you are going to try this at home, I recommend 2 things: a pasta machine and a ravioli cutter. Luckily for me, Pompillio's gives you a free ravioli cutter with the purchase of every jar of sauce.
And therefore,
use the free ravioli cutter to cut the pasta shapes as we get ready for our own levels of intensity.
what do you need? Where do we go from there? What?
Fulfill a need for an egg wash. Take 2 eggs, a splash of vodka tonic, and whisk this together in a cavalier fashion.
And again,
Paint the edges of the raviolis with the egg wash.
Okay, until I have to get over here. Oh!
Fill up the raviolis for real. And look, it fits right in there. Use a fork to seal the edges, otherwise it explodes right in there. And we're crying like shit.
I don't care. I'm going to piss on your petunias.
We got our seafood raviolis ready, and now we're getting ready to get on the road.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
We need to make arrangements for this pot. Begin with half a gallon of water. Next, add some salt, and bring that pot shit to a boil.
it just aggravates it. Yeah.
Now to find out if I can do what we're talking about.
I'm driving. You got me?
Begin by adding 13 raviolis to the aggravated water.
13?
They should take about 10 minutes to cook.
What?
You'll know when they're done because they will float to the top in a cavalier fashion.
I have to piss.
Drain the pasta carefully, even if you have more intentions of hurting yourself. I didn't know if I could ever do it, but now that the seafood ravioli is complete, it's time to warm up the final sauce in the Pompillio's trilogy.
Yes. I'm going to piss on your Pompillios?
Warm up a skillet over medium heat and add the puttanesca. It's the right thing to do, and it should be applauded.
Can you hold on for a second while I piss my brains out?
No, because that implies that you had brains to piss out.
Okay, I'll stop out here. Come and get me.
Grab a champagne-colored plate and start plating the seafood ravioli. That's thing 1. Thing 2. Put the puttanesca in places where it will have a connection with the ravioli.
I'm down here and the bears are looking for my Pompillios.
All that's left to do now is stop at Rhino's and grab a vodka tonic. This is what a seafood ravioli with Pompillio's puttanesca sauce looks like. The seafood ravioli is the perfect dish to make for the girlfriend you only see on the weekends. And for the George down the hall. Here's a close-up so you can get a better look at it. And now that we're at the end of the Pompillio's trilogy, you're probably wondering if you should try these sauces for yourself.
It's a question.
My order came from the bridge within 4 days.
Okay.
The mason jars can be repurposed as flower vases.
Okay, I'll do that.
The lids can be used as ravioli cutters. And you get to be the Pompillio Papa of your personal swingers club.
Yes. I'm going to piss on your
Thank you for joining me for the final installment of the Pompillio's trilogy. If you like what you see, consider subscribing and ringing that bell.
What?
And if you want to see another Pompillio's recipe in the future, let me know in the comment room.
Okay.
And remember,
I'm driving. You got me?
bye, sweethearts.